health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to the Accelerated Health TV and Radio Show. I'm your host, Sara Banta. I'm a wife, a busy mom of three, and the founder of the cutting edge and award-winning supplement brand Accelerated Health Products. This podcast is more than just a source of information. It's a community for you and those looking to optimize their health. I release new episodes every Monday and Tuesday live and a bonus one on Thursdays. So remember to subscribe, add to your playlist, never miss a show, and join the free group coaching on Telegram. That's where we continue the conversation uncensored. I answer your questions. I post on a daily basis. There's no downside. The details can be found on my website, sarabantahealth.com. Today, we're talking about what happens when you eat a cheap meal or when you go out or you're getting takeout food and you're just a little too tired to cook some home cooked meal. This is for everybody. No one's perfect. This is going to happen to all of us. Time gets the best of us, right? So can just one meal just completely derail you? Well, maybe 30 years ago, no, because the food system wasn't hijacked like it is today. We're in a place now where chronic disease has accelerated. If you had just a little bit of a tummy issue, it's now blown into IBS, IBD, Crohn's disease, that sort of thing. Maybe a little genetic predisposition for an autoimmune issue, and the triggers are happening, and that's accelerating the disease. So a lot of you are finding yourself in a place where you never thought you'd be, and you've never had an issue with what you're eating. And so you now are being careful with where you go, what restaurants you go to, maybe looking at the menu before you go. Is it organic? Is it not? All of that. But even doing all of that, you are going to find yourself in a place where you're eating food that you know your body's just not going to like. So the reality, could just one meal really have a negative impact on your health? The short answer is yes, but we've got tricks so that we can get ourselves back. The composition of the food from the restaurant hits the gut. Disruption occurs in the liver, the stomach, the intestines, and more. And the liver is already impacted with the spike protein, the toxins, the GMOs, the bad water that we're drinking. I just found out that my Stanley has lead in it. Here I am trying to do something good with hydrating myself. And so you can't always trust what you think you can trust anymore. But the most impactful negative result is the leaky gut. So I want to talk about that first. In the gut, you've got the good bacteria and the bad bacteria. The harmful bacteria causes disease and infection. You've got E. coli, salmonella. We all have that in our gut, right? But they're playing nice in the sandbox with the good bacteria. The good bacteria maintains the integrity of our intestinal barrier. It makes it so that there's no holes in the walls of your intestines when food comes down. And if there's a leaky gut, you've got holes. So the proteins or the food particles get into the bloodstream. The body says, I don't know what this is. Let's have a huge inflammatory, over-exaggerated response. You're not absorbing the nutrients from the food. So it's like a double whammy of negativity. The good bacteria produces short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which help keep the mucosal barrier strong, protect the intestinal cell walls from damaging toxins and pathogens. So there's a way to protect ourselves from all of the increased toxins that we're being bombarded by. But we have to be more vigilant now. So leaky gut. The typical American diet and everyday toxins, this is causing leaky gut in even the most healthy people that say, well, I have no gut issues. I don't have diarrhea. I don't have constipation. I don't have bloat. Well, do you have anxiety? Do you have a skin rash? Is your hair falling out? How's your energy? All of that stuff is linked to leaky gut. So you can't just think, well, my tummy's fine. Most people are affected by leaky gut, and that could be from just being on antibiotics, just from one cheat meal, from one night out, all of that, and even just stress, right? Who's not stressed? So having one day of stress can cause a leaky gut. That's why it's actually a good thing when you are in acute stress, your body says, I'm not hungry. It shuts down the appetite for a reason, because it knows your gut is not ready to rest and digest that food. That's why religions pray before they eat, to relax the body, to get the juices going. You actually start the digestive juices before you even eat, from that prayer, from that settling down and like, I'm looking at my food, I'm registering that I'm about to eat. Let's prepare the body, the gut for that food. So there's all that goes into it. So how does this leaky gut or dysbiosis happen? The gut's microbial population becomes unbalanced. The sandbox gets overtaken by the bad bacteria. What makes it worse is that the spike protein is proliferating these bad bacteria to make it even harder to keep the good bacteria keeping up a good fight. So without that intact barrier in the intestinal walls, toxins can reach and damage intestinal cells, causing inflammation. The tight junctions loosen, the gaps form in these intestinal linings, and these toxins enter the bloodstream, leading to leaky gut. So this is affecting at least 50% of healthy Americans and can trigger chronic inflammation throughout the body. Do you ever have aches and pains, or your arthritis gets really bad after a meal? That's inflammation. That's probably linked to leaky gut. This inflammatory cascade starts with a toxin produced in the gut called LPS. LPS binds with a transfer protein, LPS binding protein, which carries it to immune cells, activating some inflammatory pathways, and this increases the production of pro-inflammatory mediators. And so this is kind of like what happens when you have sepsis or blood poisoning. Activated immune cells release pro-inflammatory cytokines. They can cross the blood-brain barrier, meaning that inflammation can even cause your brain. That's why a lot of people have brain fog, or just ADHD, or just exhaustion in their brain from a bad meal. So this is affecting your brain, fat stores, nerves, joints, all of it. So diseases that are linked to leaky gut: IBS, Crohn's disease, arthritis, ADHD, Alzheimer's, autism, depression, anxiety, hormonal imbalance, all of that. But you also can see that just one meal can cause leaky gut. Just one meal can make you have this propensity to these deeper diseases, but it also, just from that one meal, you could be bloated, brain fog, low energy, constipation, headaches, water retention, swelling. I went out to dinner the other night. I ate a pretty clean meal, right? But the next morning, couldn't take my rings off my finger. That's my sign. Can I see my ankles? That's my sign, because I am very prone to edema. So when my body's really clean and functioning well, I don't have it. If I am off track or having something I'm not used to, or there was an ingredient snuck into a food that I didn't realize, then I will see it in the water retention. So what makes it worse now versus like 40 years ago is that the food in the restaurants is not organic. It's laden with the seed oils, artificial ingredients, refined sodium, not the good salts, added sugar, and emulsifiers. So it's not necessarily, if you go out and you have a little piece of cheesecake, that actually probably is better than some of the main meal that you're eating. And I love when people are like, oh, I just want a bite of the dessert, but they're eating the big steak that has been cooked in seed oils, maybe with some potatoes, maybe not even French fries, but some potatoes that have been, roasted in some bad oils. Or they're having a salad that is balsamic vinegar and oil, which it's not just olive oil, but the olive oil has been cut with canola oil. So it's every step of the meal, right? So it doesn't even take a lot to make your body react. Then you have the toxins in our food and our water, right? Fluoride, all of the things in the water. Most of you, even you men, are on birth control because of what our water system has, unfortunately, and we can't get away from it. But it's more than just the GMOs and the glyphosate. You've got the industrial farming that has introduced dioxins, which is a highly toxic compound that builds up in the fat tissues of conventionally raised animals and end up in our food chain. So you are what you ate. So are you eating bison that has just been eating grass in a field that is natural for his lifetime? Or are you eating a cow that is eating soy and corn and maybe some Skittles and things like that? That is typically what is served in the restaurants. Well, these fattier meats are actually, they have these inflammatory fats, the omega-6s, but they taste better. So even in the expensive steak restaurants, that's what they're wanting to serve you because it has more flavor. They think it does. I don't, but they do. So then you add in the halogens, the fluoride, bromide, chlorine found in our water. And these toxins, all of them burden our liver, clog our iodine receptor sites in every cell of our body, including your thyroid. So it's slowing down your thyroid. So not only is your body from this one meal taking those fats or toxins, storing them in their fat cells to get them out of your blood, they're wreaking havoc on your gut. So you have leaky gut. So you're not absorbing the nutrients that you're supposed to get from the food, but it's also slowing down your thyroid just from that one meal. Because most of you, 96% of the United States, have low iodine. You're iodine deficient. If you're iodine deficient, then these receptor sites meant for iodine are going to be filled with these other toxins. There's nice little places for them to park on every single cell. Now, the cell membrane is that iodolipid value or membrane. Okay, so it's saturated and unsaturated fat with iodine. So the cell membrane needs the healthy fats and iodine. If you don't have enough iodine, then you're not going to get the nutrients into the cells and the toxins out. So all of these toxins that we're talking about cause leaky gut, steal the nutrients out of the body, inhibit your nutrient absorption, lower your mitochondria and ATP, which is your true cellular energy. That's why you wake up with brain fog and you can't get out of bed to go work out and burn off the calories from this meal that you had the night before. And it will lower just your vital force, your life force, right? And it can cause depression even. Then you've got the processed foods. Most takeout foods include highly processed foods. These are from big corporations. They've wrecked our health. And this is the main culprit behind insulin resistance, overall toxicity. Yes, insulin resistance is worsened with sugar. But go back to listen to Jay Feldman, Mike Fave on my podcast. We talk about the fact that if you're diabetic or have insulin resistance, taking the carbs or the sugar out of the diet is going to take the foot off the gas pedal, but that's not the cause. It is from these processed foods because you're adding sugar on top of seed oils, on top of toxins, on top of artificial sweeteners, on top of no fiber. So you're actually eating more calories. I saw a study that showed if someone was eating processed foods versus whole foods, they end up eating about 500 extra calories a day. That's just on top of all of these other things. You're going to get insulin resistance and obesity if you don't change your caloric intake, but you just change from whole foods to processed foods because your body doesn't know what to do with all of these other ingredients, right? You've got the excess fructose, like I said, the seed oils, and these foods are hyper palatable, meaning your body is like, oh my God, this tastes so good. And it tells the brain, I'm addicted to this. I need more, I need more, I need more. You've got these emulsifiers that extend the shelf life of these foods from restaurants or from processed foods that destroy the gut's mucosal lining. And that will cause your gut to not be able to tell your brain, oh, I've had enough food. I'm good. I can stop eating. So that's where there's this break of appetite suppressant or satiation from the food. Whereas if you eat a bison ribeye, you're not going to overeat. You're not going to binge. And there's so many people, even in the health space, that talk about the fact that they're good Monday through Friday. Then they go out to eat on a Saturday and they just start eating. And it's because there's this food, the food they're eating is tricking their brain to think that they're not really getting any nutrients or food, so just keep eating. There's no protein or good healthy nutrients in a food like Pringles, then your brain's going to say, keep eating. I'm not getting what I want, right? You've got the gluten and the grains in these foods. Typically, you're eating, when you go out, you're eating these gluten and grain laden foods, and they rob us of nutrition. They cause hypothyroidism. They're full of the glyphosate and GMOs. So what happens 24 hours after eating your takeout? You got the leaky gut. Hands down, one meal will cause leaky gut. Kira and Krishan has been on my show talking about that. Yes, it's true, one meal. It could cause low blood sugar because you're having excess sugars, which is going to drive the blood sugar up temporarily and then drop it, leading to symptoms like extreme hunger, cravings, headaches, low energy, poor sleep. You're probably going to go to sleep fine, and then you're going to wake up in the middle of the night. And then you'll want to reach for more sugar and refined carbs to quickly bring up your blood sugar. You are going to probably have water retention. So most of these foods are full of refined sodium, not like accelerated ancient salt with all 62 minerals. It's got just sodium and microplastics. So your body doesn't know what to do with those. So they're going to stuff the microplastics into your fat cells. And that's going to back up your liver, clog the detox pathways. And the sodium, unpaired without the potassium that balances it, is going to cause the kidneys to retain excess water, leading to bloat, edema, puffiness in the face, brain fog you're going to get because the inflammation from the inflammatory seed oils, GMOs, and refined carbs are going to cause systemic inflammation throughout the body. Anxiousness or depression. Yes, the blood sugar roller coaster combined with the leaky gut and the inflamed brain might give you feelings of anxiety and depression. And the gut is where the majority of the serotonin, GABA, and dopamine are produced. And when leaky gut is present, those hormones aren't produced properly. You're going to have low energy. I mean, how many times have you gone out and the next morning you're like, God, I feel like a truck hit me, even if you don't have alcohol? There's so many times when I'll go out and I'm like, what did I eat last night? I didn't even drink and I feel like I'm hungover. That's because of all of these things we're talking about. You're going to have increased fat storage. So away from eating too many carbs or too much fat or too many calories, your body's going to have this propensity to store fat. The toxins and artificial ingredients forces the body to store these foreign elements they don't recognize in fat cells. These fat cells are survival mechanisms to store them, get them out of the blood, and that's causing the body to say, okay, we need to store more fat. We need to store more fat, increasing the fat cell size and the number of fat cells. And then the high level of refined carbs and sugar will increase that insulin resistance, which in turn increases fat storage and slows down the metabolism. So it's just this cascade, right? Domino effect. And you're not going to get nourishment. You know, if you have leaky gut or if you have toxins with the vitamins in your food that you're eating, and the low quality of ingredients, so you're not even getting the nutrients you would get in an organic grass-fed meal, then you're going to cause malabsorption of the little nutrients there is. So then what happens when you're malnourished? Low energy, increased appetite, because the brain's still looking for more nutrients. It's saying, I gotta keep eating. I gotta keep eating. So does that mean we never go out to dinner? Does that mean we never give ourselves a break as a mom and actually do takeout for the family? No, it doesn't. There are some tricks, and I even have some new ones this year that have been game changers for me. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm free. I can actually eat other things and not be so strict. So number one, like always, accelerated iodine. Why? Well, it's the quickest way to increase your ATP production inside the cells, in addition to supporting the cellular membrane health, so the nutrients can get into the cells and the toxins can get released. And iodine also helps devitalize all the foreign pathogens that may have crept into the body, like foodborne illness like the E. coli, salmonella, all of that. And iodine is going to help improve the metabolism, thyroid health, and fat oxidation. So it's going to say, hey, we're going to get these toxins out. As soon as they come in, we're going to kick them right out. And we're going to keep that ATP pumping. And we're also going to support that cell membrane with the right fats. So that with the iodine, what I love now, and this is new, is the Body Bio PC. We're having Jess to come on the show and talk about it. But what this does, this provides the structure for the cell membrane between the PC and the iodine. This is your cell membrane. This is the health of how getting the toxins out and the nutrients in. And I will take an extra dose of this before I go out to dinner or have that meal and after. And then you have the acceleradine iodine, which is the only singlet atom of iodine in the form of I-. It is in the form where the cells need it, right? It doesn't need to be broken apart from another molecule like potassium to actually have the body use it. And if your body's being bombarded by all these toxins, the energy's low, the ATP's low, how is your body going to have the energy to break apart an iodine atom from something else? That's why so many iodine supplements only have about 10 to 20% absorption. Acceleradine iodine is in that form where it's like, okay, I'm going to every single cell in the body. I'm going inside the cell, increasing that ATP. I'm helping the cell membrane, and I'm cleaning up the outside stuff, the junk. I'm getting out the toxins, the fluoride, the bromide, the chlorine, and all of the microplastics. We're kicking them out of the body. Okay, so that's the cell membrane. The PC is helping the structure of the membrane, and with this. Okay, so then you have the next day, you use the accelerated fast. So the next morning, you wake up, your blood sugar's low, you got that brain fog. The accelerated fast is going to give you BHB, the ketones, to feed your brain to get you stabilized. You need to hydrate, and you need the accelerated salt as well. That is going to give you energy. Okay, so usually, even though you're puffy and you're retaining water, it's that extracellular hydration. We want intracellular hydration for energy. So the ingredients in the accelerated fast help stabilize the blood sugar. It helps break down the fatty liver, increase ATP in addition to the acceleradine iodine. It helps you translate that cellular energy so that you have energy to go do your workout, to get the bang for your buck and burn off the junk that you ate the night before. And it gives you that mental energy. So it's going to reduce the inflammation in the body, suppress the appetite for the sugar-laden foods. You're then going to focus on the wild animal protein when you do eat. Accelerated cellular detox powder. I will take this before the meal, and I'll take this after, because it's going to grab up any of those toxins and even the foodborne illness. I used to be prone to getting E. coli or salmonella every single time I went out. I don't get any in anymore. And I take this powder before and after the meal. It helps soaks up the toxins, heavy metals, artificial ingredients from the meal, while preventing the usual bloat, constipation, and dysbiosis that occurs. Now it has tryptophan in it to help carry out excess dietary fat out of the body and help lower the bad cholesterol. So look up tryptophan. It used to be a weight loss supplement when my parents were younger, and now we've put it in here to help take that excess fat that is usually hidden in these meals out of the body. It also has activated charcoal in the formula, known to clean up poisons and foodborne illness. Now, a lot of you are saying, oh, no, I can't do activated charcoal. It makes me constipated. The other ingredients in the formula balances out. So you actually will, if you're prone to diarrhea, it's going to balance you out. If you're prone to constipation, it's going to balance you out. It helps balance out the doshas. So if you're familiar with Ayurvedic medicine, that's how it's been designed. Now, you want to also use the accelerated leaky gut bundle to cause resilience to occur in the gut so that you're more resilient to all of these foods in our food system. so that you can still go out and enjoy yourself. So you can still order that takeout. You've got the Megaspore, which is a spore biotic, different from any other probiotic. It reconditions your gut, promotes the right microbial diversity. There's all of these, soda alternatives that are, I don't want to name names, but they're probiotic drinks in an aluminum can, and they've got 10 calories. So people think, oh, well, I'm not drinking my Diet Coke or my Coke anymore. This is a good alternative. Those probiotic drinks, first of all, do the probiotics even survive the stomach acid and get to where they need to go? Probably not. They're full of the aluminum from the can, but is it taking away the calories from the Coke and the artificial ingredients? Yeah, it is. But even if the probiotics were working, or you're having your kombucha or your Kavita, that is overpopulating your gut with too much of one or two things. Where the spore biotic is going down in you, different than it's going down in me, and it's going to create what I need, which is different from what you need. So it's going to say, you need more of this and that, and not so much of this. That's the beauty of Megaspore. I do not go without it. Then you have the Mega Pre, which tastes amazing. I love the taste of it. It feeds the Megaspore, the spores from Megaspore, to quicken the results. And you've got the Mega Mucosa that helps restore the tight junctions. So that intestinal wall, remember we were talking about leaky gut, that Mega Mucosa is going to make sure you're strengthening that wall. Even from that one meal, it's not going to have a fight against the Mega Mucosa with those tight junctions. Holozyme. I have tested thousands of different enzymes for my meals, and I would take handfuls of them thinking, well, God, my gut is just so wrecked that if I take 20 of them, that will work for Sara. But it wasn't that. It was the fact that they weren't working. Holozyme digestive enzymes are the first enzymes that actually work. They break down the food into the usable nutrients. They alleviate gas, bloating, the undigested foods. And so it's different. It's got a patent formula and an absorption technology that ensures that the enzymes aren't destroyed by the stomach acid. And so they activate the enzymes at the right time. So this is really important. I know a lot of women are saying, well, my hair is falling out. Why am I losing my hair? Why is my skin so icky? It's because you're not absorbing your nutrients. And you need the enzymes, especially as we get older. And if you've been on an American diet for years, that's created just a lack of enzymes in your gut and low stomach acid. So most of us are suffering from an inability to digest even our good, wholesome, organic meals, not to mention these takeout meals. Then you've got the HCL Guard. These two together, the Holozymes HCL Guard, I swear, if I ate a meal with salmonella and E. coli and whatever, my gut's going to say, oop, I got it. That HCL Guard kills those gut pathogens, but it also helps unravel the protein balls for effective enzyme function, and it helps release minerals. It also promotes that digestive hormone CCK, which tells your brain, I've got enough to eat. I don't need to eat anymore. That hormone is one of my favorites because it's triggered by healthy, organic, grass-fed wild meats and omega-3 fatty acids. It's not triggered by carbs or processed foods, but that hormone is what tells your brain, I don't need to binge, I don't need to eat, I don't need a second serving, especially if you're taking these enzymes and you're actually absorbing the nutrients. I have a lot of people saying, Sara, with the economy and inflation, I cannot afford supplements anymore. Here's the truth. A lot of you are taking supplements that don't work or are even backfiring, and you're wasting money on those. 95% of the supplement market is junk, full of mold or bacteria that is also causing more issues in your body. But number two is when you properly eat and you properly absorb your nutrients and you have good energy, you're going to end up eating less of the expensive processed foods. The processed foods are the ones that have increased the most with inflation. It's not the grass-fed bison. It's not the wild meats that have increased. It's the McDonald's and it's the Doritos and it's the Starbucks. There's so many ways to start eating more clean and actually saving money. And when you incorporate some of these supplements that actually work and give you energy, you're not going to need to eat anymore, because a lot of times you're eating going, well, I'm still eating because I have no energy, but you're not converting food into energy because you're eating the wrong foods. So when you start eating the right foods, you start using the right supplements strategically, you're actually going to feel better and spending less money on those things like the caramel macchiato and the Doritos and the takeout, because you're so exhausted. You don't want to cook food. You just want to order Uber Eats. So just something to think about, and how you want to prioritize your health, because also preventative medicine, preventative ways of living is going to save you money in the long term. Okay, so the HCL Guard and the Holozymes, I take them with every meal. Now, berberine, you can also use that. That's nature's Ozempic. It helps stabilize blood sugar swings, especially when you're eating too much sugar, refined carbs. So if I know I'm going to be eating off track, I always take my berberine. It also helps improve immunity, manage cholesterol levels. And then I will also take, and I've had Terry Cochran on, I've also had Stephen Wright on, talking about the high histamines in our diet now, the spike protein causing more histamines reactions in our body. So even if you didn't have histamines or issues with those, or allergies or rashes or inflammation, anything like that before, you might now. And I'm one of those people, never had any of those issues. I now take HistaHarmony with every single meal. You can have this over-exaggerated histamine response. HistaHarmony is a powerful DAO enzyme supplement designed to break down histamine and reduce histamine reactions and intolerant symptoms. So it has a patented formula that works better than any other histamine supplement that I've ever used. So it makes sure that it's protected until it reaches the small intestine. So what I do is I take that 20 minutes before the meal. It prevents the reactions like a racing heart, rashes, migraines, bloat, constipation, any other allergy reactions. You can actually use it if you're seasick or car sick. So you can just take it on an empty stomach for that. So that is also important. Back to maybe doing the wrong things. What are the histamine foods? Bone broth, avocados, bananas. These are foods that are healthy foods, low calorie, things that you think you're eating for good, and they could be backfiring. So my one more thing, the butyrate. So butyrate, I have it in 3 formulas. We've got the tributyrate X, we've got the calcium magnesium butyrate, and we've got the sodium butyrate. All 3 are fantastic. It's a personal preference, but that will help support the gut permeability, that leaky gut. It enhances the mucus layer. It promotes microbiome diversity. Why do you need butyrate? That short chain fatty acids that our gut needs, it's not in our diet as much as it used to be. So we're missing it. We're not eating the foods that produce it. They tell you to eat cold potatoes. Who's going to do that? I'm not. I mean, I don't even eat a lot of potatoes, let alone would I want them cold? No. It also stabilizes the mast cells, promotes a healthy inflammation response. It also helps increase GLP-1, like all of those GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic. So it's just another thing. It's a postbiotic. We talk about prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics. The butyrate is the postbiotics. But my key, my cherry on top, the thing that will get me out of any stomach issue when it comes to eating out or eating off track is my Hiwi. This device is frequency. I've created an intestinal inflammation program that I do at night especially after nights of eating out. Reduces inflammation in my gut, helps with constipation, helps with the rings and the edema, and helps kill any gut bacteria that may have gotten in there. And I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm not bloated. This is amazing. And I feel great. You can use it for ATP production, for hypothyroid, for energy, overall energy, for sleep, all of that stuff. So the Hiwi is a one-time purchase that you can use with over 60,000 programs to help your system, whatever it is. I mean, I've even used it for skin or hair and things like that as well. So what do you want to do away from supplements? You want to make sure the next day you're eliminating the amyloid proteins. Those are found in chicken, poultry, conventionally raised beef. They can worsen the gut issues, strengthening the biofilm formation, reactivate the viral activity in the body. So it's going to take that little bit of E. coli from the night before and let it explode, right? So you want to focus on animal proteins like bison, venison, elk, lamb, duck, wild fish. I love getting my meats from North Star Bison. There's lots of companies out there, and they're usually family run, and the cost is very low and budget friendly. You want to also eliminate the oxalates. These healthy foods can cause dysbiosis, increase candida bacteria, leaky gut, all of that. And that includes the spinach, almonds, kale, peanuts, berries, chocolates, most nuts. You want to eliminate the sulfur foods and sulfur supplements. Are you taking MSM or glutathione or NAC? I know a lot of people are. Those are all sulfur based. That could be backing up your liver, so your body's just retaining all that water and stuff, and you are overworking your whole detox symptoms. But the foods to stay away from: broccoli, cauliflower, kale, cabbage, egg yolks, onions, garlics. Now, does that mean forever? No. But if you are in a compromised situation and you've had a meal out the night before, you got takeout, your body's like, I'm teetering on, am I healthy or am I not? You probably want to limit your fat intake. Most people right now have compromised fat metabolism, and the fat metabolism happens in the liver. Most takeout meals have hidden inflammatory fats and seed oils, and excessive fat intake can cause nausea, fat gain, gut issues. So as you feel better, as you're doing all the things we talked about, you probably can handle eating more fat. And of course, you want to lower your stress. I say that as I'm laughing because it's easier said than done. Make sure you're going for walks. I've incorporated, now that it's summer, walking at night after dinner. It's amazing. 5 to 10 minutes. I'm not talking about an hour walk. Just 5 to 10 minutes literally decompresses me. I can feel my blood sugar lower. My dogs are happy that I'm taking them out. It's beautiful at night. I listen to something soothing like a sermon or a self-help podcast. And it's really been an amazing way to just get me into a good state before bedtime. So I hope this was helpful. I'm just the messenger. Don't kill me. I'm giving you tricks on how to still eat out, still get that takeout, but with more resilience. And like I said, supplements are there to supplement a good diet, but the supplements are now needed because of the lack of nutrition in our soils and because of the amount of toxins that we are facing on a daily basis. So for preventative care and to actually save yourself money by eliminating the cravings for these expensive processed foods, these expensive meal takeouts, that stuff is not cheap. And this is where you can actually fine tune not just your budget, but actually your health. And it's amazing how good you feel in your brain and your body. I'm 48 years old. I feel better than I did when I was 20 years old. And there's a reason I went through all of my health issues so that I could find these solutions to share with you. So thanks for tuning in today. If you need my help, You can email me directly through the website, sarabantahealth.com. Happy to put together a protocol for you. Join my free group coaching. Ask your questions. There's no downside. You continue to learn on a daily basis. You get motivated. You stay motivated. You're surrounded by a community of people who are on a similar path. And don't forget to follow me on social media at Accelerated Health Products. You can catch this podcast, all of my podcasts on over 100 platforms, including Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio. Just search Accelerated Health TV and Radio Show. And I'm on a mission to share my healing message with everyone who's ready to listen and not those who aren't. So help me by sharing this podcast with a few of your friends. And remember, I'm live every Monday and Tuesday. I post a bonus one on Thursdays. And you can use coupon WELCOME10 to get 10% off your first order. Thanks again for joining us here and have a great week.